Maglev trains sound like something straight out of science fiction, floating above the track, gliding at incredible speeds, and promising to revolutionize transportation. On paper, they seem almost perfect: no friction, minimal noise, and the ability to reach speeds that traditional trains can only dream of. So why aren't they everywhere? Why hasn't the world already replaced conventional rail with these futuristic systems? The answer is complicated. Maglev is not truly impossible, but in many practical ways, it behaves like it is. The challenges are not just technical, they are economic, infrastructural, political, and even psychological. To understand why Maglev is basically impossible, you have to look beyond the hype and into the real-world limitations that stop it from becoming mainstream. First, let's talk about the core idea. Maglev, short for magnetic levitation, works by using powerful magnets to lift a train off the track. Instead of wheels touching rails, the train floats slightly above a guideway. This eliminates rolling resistance, which is one of the main sources of friction in traditional trains. With friction gone, speeds can increase dramatically. In theory, Maglev trains can exceed 500 km per hour and potentially go even faster. There are two main types of Maglev systems: electromagnetic suspension, EMS, and electrodynamic suspension, EDS. EMS systems use magnets to pull the train upward toward the track, while EDS systems use superconducting magnets to push the train away from the track. Both systems require extremely precise engineering and constant control to maintain stability. Even small fluctuations can cause instability, so advanced computer systems are always at work keeping everything balanced. Now here's the first big problem: cost. Building a Maglev system is incredibly expensive. Unlike traditional trains, which can run on existing railway infrastructure, Maglev requires completely new tracks. These aren't just rails, they are highly specialized guideways embedded with magnetic systems. Every kilometer of Maglev track costs significantly more than conventional rail, sometimes multiple times higher, and it's not just the track. The trains themselves are also far more expensive. They require advanced materials, powerful magnets, and complex control systems. Maintenance is also costly because the technology is still relatively rare, meaning fewer experts, fewer spare parts, and less standardization. This leads to a major economic issue: return on investment. Governments and companies have to ask a simple question: why spend billions on Maglev when high-speed rail already works well? Modern high-speed trains can reach 300 to 350 km per hour, which is already fast enough for most travel needs. The extra speed of Maglev, while impressive, often doesn't justify the massive increase in cost. For example, if a journey takes 3 hours by high-speed rail, Maglev might reduce it to 2 hours. That's a benefit, but is it worth doubling or tripling the cost of infrastructure? In most cases, the answer is no. This is why many countries stick with conventional high-speed rail instead of switching to Maglev. Another major challenge is compatibility. Traditional trains can share tracks, switch lines, and integrate into existing rail networks. Maglev cannot. It is completely incompatible with conventional rail systems. This means you can't just add a Maglev line to your current network, you have to build an entirely separate system from scratch. This lack of integration creates logistical problems. Passengers may need to transfer between Maglev and regular trains, adding inconvenience. Freight transport becomes even more complicated, as Maglev is not well suited for heavy cargo. Traditional rail systems, on the other hand, can handle both passengers and freight efficiently. Then there's the issue of energy consumption. While Maglev eliminates rolling friction, it still requires a significant amount of energy to operate. The magnetic systems need constant power to maintain levitation and propulsion. At very high speeds, air resistance becomes the dominant force, and overcoming it requires enormous energy. In fact, at speeds above 400 km per hour, energy consumption increases dramatically. This means that while Maglev is efficient in some ways, it becomes less efficient at the extreme speeds it is designed for. So the very advantage that makes Maglev attractive, its speed, also becomes one of its biggest drawbacks. Safety is another concern. Maglev systems are generally very safe, but they introduce new types of risks. Because the trains operate at such high speeds and rely on complex electronic systems, any failure could have serious consequences. While engineers design multiple redundancies to prevent accidents, the complexity of the system increases the potential points of failure. Emergency situations are also more challenging. Evacuating passengers from a maglev train that is elevated on a specialized guideway is not as straightforward as stopping a traditional train on tracks. Rescue operations could be more complicated, especially in remote areas. Now let's talk about infrastructure challenges. Building a maglev line is not just about laying down track. It requires precise alignment, stable, and often elevated structures to maintain smooth operation. This makes construction more difficult, especially with uneven terrain or dense urban environments. Land acquisition becomes a major issue as well. Governments may need to acquire large areas of land to build new maglev, which can lead to legal disputes and public opposition. In contrast, upgrading existing rail lines is often easier and less controversial. Political factors also play a significant role. Large infrastructure projects require long-term commitment, often spanning decades. Governments may change, priorities may shift, and funding may disappear. Maglev projects are particularly vulnerable because of their high costs and uncertain benefits. There have been several proposed maglev projects around the world that were eventually cancelled or delayed. Political and financial challenges. Even when the technology works, the surrounding factors can prevent it from being implemented. Public perception is another subtle but important factor. People are generally comfortable with traditional trains because they are familiar and proven. Maglev, on the other hand, feels new and experimental, even though it has been around for decades. This perception can influence decision-making, especially when large amounts of public money are involved. There's also the issue of scale. A single maglev line can be impressive, but it doesn't transform a country's transportation system unless it becomes part of a larger network. Building such a network would require enormous investment and coordination, which is difficult to achieve. Interestingly, the few successful maglev systems that do exist are often limited in scope. They may connect an airport to a city center or serve a specific corridor, but they don't replace entire rail networks. This highlights a key point: maglev works best in niche applications rather than as a universal solution. Technology limitations also play a role. While maglev systems are highly advanced, they are not perfect. Superconducting magnets, for example, require extremely low temperatures to operate, which adds complexity and cost. Maintaining these conditions over long distances and extended periods is challenging. Even the control systems, which are essential for stable levitation and must operate with incredible precision. Any glitch or delay in these systems could affect performance. While engineers have made significant progress, this still requires constant improvement. Another important factor is competition from other technologies. High-speed rail continues to improve, with new trains becoming faster, more efficient, and more affordable. At the same time, advancements in aviation and even emerging technologies like Hyperloop add to the competition. When decision-makers compare these options, maglev often loses because it doesn't offer enough advantages to justify its disadvantages. It sits in a difficult position, not cheap enough to compete with rail, and not fast enough to compete with airplanes over long distances. Environmental considerations also come into play. While maglev produces no direct emissions, the energy required to operate it often comes from power plants, which may rely on fossil fuels. The environmental impact depends on how that electricity is generated. Construction also has an environmental footprint. Building new guideways, especially elevated ones, can disrupt ecosystems and require significant resources. These factors must be considered when evaluating the overall sustainability of maglev. Despite all these challenges, maglev is not a failure. It represents an incredible engineering achievement and demonstrates what is possible when innovation pushes boundaries. The fact that maglev systems exist and operate successfully in some places shows that the technology works. However, working is not the same as being practical on a large scale. This is where the idea of basically impossible comes from. It's not that maglev cannot be built or operated, it's that scaling it up to replace conventional transportation systems is extremely difficult. In many ways, maglev is a victim of its own ambition. It promises so much that expectations become unrealistic. When those expectations are compared to the realities of cost, infrastructure, and practicality, the gap becomes clear. Think of it like this: maglev is like a supercar. It's fast, impressive, and technologically advanced. But most people don't need a supercar for daily use. A regular car is more practical, affordable, and versatile. In the same way, high-speed rail serves most transportation needs effectively. While maglev remains a specialized solution, there is also a timing issue. If Maglev had been developed earlier, before the widespread adoption of traditional rail networks, it might have had a better chance of becoming dominant. But now, with existing infrastructure already in place, replacing it with something entirely new is a massive challenge. History often favors technologies that are good enough rather than perfect. Traditional rail may not be as advanced as Maglev, but it is reliable, cost-effective, and widely adopted. This makes it difficult for Maglev to compete, even if it is technically superior in some ways. Looking to the future, Maglev may still find its place. It could be used in specific corridors where high speed is essential and cost is less of a concern. It may also benefit from future technological advancements that reduce costs and improve efficiency. However, the idea that Maglev will completely replace traditional trains or airplanes is unlikely. The barriers are simply too high, and the benefits are not sufficient to overcome them in most cases. So when people say Maglev is basically impossible, they don't mean it literally. They mean that, in the real world, with all its constraints and complexities, it is extremely difficult to justify and implement on a large scale. It's a fascinating example of how technology alone is not enough. Success depends on a combination of factors: economic viability, infrastructure compatibility, political support, and public acceptance. Maglev struggles in many of these areas, which is why it remains a niche technology rather than a global standard. In the end, Maglev is not impossible, but it is impractical in most situations. And in the world of large-scale transportation, impractical often means the same thing as impossible.